Hi, I'm Sean Hessinger, and this is Small Biz in 15, the show where we bring you small business success in 15 minutes or less. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy the show. If you own a retail business, your customer base is not what it used to be. Riva Lasansky, CEO of GrowBiz Media and SmallBusinessCurrents.com, explains how Millennials and Gen Z are changing retail and how your business needs to adapt. We're going to talk about both e-commerce and retail because I think that there's a lot of, confusion on this topic with people. Customers now are not the same as they were even 5 years ago. They're just not doing the same things, right?
Exactly. Plus, there's a whole new customer base out there. And I think that so many business owners have the wrong perceptions of the generations. They think, oh, millennials are this and Gen Z is this, and they're totally wrong. And unless they get and understand what the generations want and are doing, they're going to continue to lose customers. The other thing that I think small business retailers need to be aware of, online or off, is Gen Z are not a bunch of kids. They're not teenagers. They're leading end. And, the only generation that has an absolute definition of time are the baby boomers, right? They were born between 46 and 64. And then everything else is kind of fuzzy when it starts. I mean, we know that Gen X started in 65, but everything else is kind of fuzzy when it starts and doesn't. But the leading edge of Gen Z, they're in their early to mid 20s. So a lot of them are working. They're starting families, they're spending money, and they're serious about spending money. They've lived through some recessions, they understand what it's like. And so they're actually going into adulthood with a different kind of mindset in terms of consumerism. It's not that they're not spending, they're happy to spend, but they look at consumerism as kind of activism. It's their way of being activists. And so they choose who they want to do business with very carefully. They vet a lot of people, they boycott a lot of businesses. And they're looking, it's not that they're cheap, but they're very conscious of where they're spending their money and how much they're spending. And they have basically unleashed this whole phenomenon of secondhand retail. I mean, it's not just my nephew, who is a millennial, he refused to buy new clothes. If he wanted clothes, he went to Goodwill or thrift stores, and he'd be so proud. And we used to make fun of him, and he's like in his early 30s now. But basically, that generation of millennials started this phenomenon where now secondhand is hot, and it's so hot that major retailers are actually making space on the floor in their stores to share used clothing, used products. IKEA even launched, hey, if your thing's in good shape, bring it back, we'll pay you for it. And they're reselling it. So that's a whole new phenomenon, not just in clothing, but in furniture. There's a whole website, Cherish, that sells vintage furniture. And it's big. We're not just talking about dabbling. They have millions and millions of customers. So that's a whole new mindset too.
Talking about Generation Z or younger generations in general, how about the opposite of the generality that people above the age of 60 are never going to shop online? Are people who are younger absolutely going to shop online and never going to step into a retail store? Because that doesn't seem exactly accurate either.
No, and I think that's the group that led the surge back to retail. It's because for them, shopping is a social activity. Right? They don't go into stores themselves. They go in with a group of people. They're trying stuff on. They're sending pictures to other friends. It's kind of a group fun activity. And so that group has embraced that. And so they led the charge back to the stores because they felt they were younger, that it was okay, they were vaccinated, they could be, they weren't worried about being exposed to anything, and they wanted to have fun again. And for them, fun is doing things in a pack. And so that's a big thing that people overlook. And so you want to, like, for one thing, restaurant owners, which is kind of retail, but kind of not. One of the one generation that is huge in restaurants is Gen Z. They love to go out to eat. And so many even teens, so many restaurant owners see some teens coming and are like, no, I don't want you in my restaurant. But they're there, they spend money. It's the biggest, I'm waiting for the new Taking Stock with Teens survey, but the one for this past spring, shows that they're spending a lot of their money on food. Food is, for overall teens, it's like the number one spend. And so again, you want to make them comfortable. You want to, make them not feel like they got to eat and run, because they're going to sit there and they're going to just keep ordering stuff because that's what they do. They like to hang out. So take advantage of it.
Any other customer behaviors that have been majorly changed over the last couple of years that small businesses should be aware of? Anything we didn't mention?
Yeah. So there's, again, what I mentioned with the younger people, the consumerism as activism. I think that's filtering throughout all generations. So when you look at the size of generations, you look at the millennials. That's another one that people don't really understand who millennials are. They range in age from their early 40s to let's say early 20s to early 40s. So they range from just starting out to people with families buying homes. Millennials are the biggest home buyers in America. They're having families, which means they're buying a lot of stuff because you have a kid and you endlessly need stuff. And so you don't ever want to overlook the millennial market. And the millennials kind of started, like I said, the secondhand movement. They started the consumerism of activism. It's been really embraced by Gen Z, but it was really started by millennials. And what both those generations want, and between the two of them, I mean, they make up just probably half of America. I mean, millennials alone are like 85 million, and Gen Z is not small. And so you look at those two generations, and they're looking to do business with people who give back to the community in some way, who care about their employees. When you're a local business, the way you treat your employees matters to your customers, because somebody is going to live next door to one of your workers, right? Everybody's going to know somebody who works for you, and they're going to know if you're a good employee or a good employer or a bad one. And people are going to make their judgments on where to shop based on that. And so you want to not only be a good public citizen, but you want to talk about it. That's one thing. It's about, well, I do this stuff and I'm too embarrassed to say it. But no, you want to promote it because you want people to know that you care. And it's not about doing it for phony reasons. It's about being authentic about it and really caring to show that you do care about your community and you're participating. And this can range from anything to holding a fundraiser for Girl Scouts. It's not I understand small businesses have limited budgets. But there's some stores here in my area that at the holidays just have Girl Scout troops come in there to wrap gifts for free. And it's free, yeah. But the Girl Scout, you can tip, like donate to the Girl Scouts. The store gets nothing except customers are there because, I'm getting my gift wrap for free. And the Girl Scouts or the Boy Scouts or whatever that is can make some money from it. So think about ways that you can interact with your community more to show that you are public minded.
Anything we missed?
We're outside the realm of retail here, but if you're in the home construction and remodeling industries, or selling those kind of products, and I don't mean decor, I mean like sinks or, plumbing devices or something, women are actually the driver of those purchases. And I've read some surveys from women that say they're the ones that actually go into the hardware store to buy the products, and yet they're the ones who feel not respected in the hardware store by the employees, right? It's happened to me in my life where I've gone into those places and they're like, "Oh, you're just a woman. I'm not gonna," and literally they ignore you so that's really important, is to understand that your customer it has changed, right? Women are actually I told you millennials are buying more homes. Well, it's really led by millennial women who are actually buying a lot of the homes. So you want to make sure that you treat every one of your customers with respect.
And that's it for another episode of Small Biz in 15. Thanks again to Riva Lasansky, and please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the show. And please leave a comment and let us know what topics you'd like to see covered in future programs. For more small business news and tips, join us at smallbiztrends.com.